What is the best gaming generation of all time?
Find out coming up next.
Let's cue that music.
Show and tell.
Hello there, Guildies. I'm Steve.
Still Jesse?
And you have tuned into the Adventures Guild, specifically a fantastic episode of Show and Tell.
Oh, we haven't done one of these in a while.
It has been, as the kids say, a minute.
A hot minute. Wow, I hurt myself. What's the best generation to play Zelda on? Because that's what it really comes down to.
That's a part of it. But the question from the introductory bumper, what is the best generation of gaming?
Ooh.
And that can be taken multiple ways. I got something interesting to throw at Jesse during my particular pitch. But that is the way we are phrasing it. Not the best console generation, just the best generation. So I may have just
Steve
given
is
something
at
away.
a bit of an advantage for me because he's been around for a lot longer generations. He walked with both Martin Luther King and Moses in his lifetime. So, I don't got that many years on Steve.
I'm barely older than you.
Older is older, my friend.
All right, well, because of that stupid comment, we're going to have Jesse go first. So,
Thank you, Steve.
you want to reveal our generations?
I do. We don't know special effects. I actually got a prop.
I have a prop too. What a coincidence.
Okay.
What a coinky dinky.
Right. We pull out my little precious over here.
Okay.
The Lord of Rings
The
reference.
One Ring. We're going to have to bleep that out.
Right.
Maybe I'll leave it in.
The best time in gaming, or the best generation of gaming, in my opinion, goes to not only the original Xbox, PS2, but my favorite, the mighty GameCube. Dun, 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 dun. Or should I say? Dun.
And my choice for best generation of gaming is the era that consisted of the Super Nintendo.
Oh, with the dog bone.
Well, that was more than NES, but yes, this is dog bone shaped. The Sega Genesis, and by extension, the PC gaming era of the early 1990s.
Oh yeah,
To
forgot
mid
about that.
1990s.
A lot of Flash games.
That would be incorrect.
That was wrong.
That was way wrong. That would be early 2000s. We are leaving that in there. AOL dial-up Flash games must have been painful at the time.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse is going to go first.
So, usually, one of us always loses this by going all emotional on it and talking about how much this meant to us and all that. But I just really want to talk about sales, first off. What's the highest selling console of all time, Steve?
PlayStation 2.
The PlayStation 2. What started the generation of HD gaming? Technically the 360. But the PlayStation 2 got us there to the 360. I mean, the PlayStation 2 was about graphics. It was about
It wasn't
speed.
high definition, though. The PS3 was high definition.
Yeah, that's why I said 360 technically. But the PlayStation 2 got us there. It was about high speeds and graphics and making our games look cooler and making games like Tekken 3 look like Tekken Tag Tournament. Is this real? What is that? That's
So
amazing.
are you saying that the PS2 was the bridge to high definition graphics?
Absolutely.
Because you're really losing nerd points with the Flash games from the 90s, the 90s Flash games, and the HD gaming of the PS2. Are we sure you didn't have like a lot of caffeine before you got here?
I might have had some.
Okay, so you're talking this is strictly a bridge.
Bridge, that's all. I'm just saying, do you remember the first time, at least console-wise, we started talking about graphics? It was the original Xbox. It was that PlayStation 2. It was the GameCube. That's when, games started getting that photorealism. I love the PS1 just like anybody, but everything on the PS1 was boxy.
Okay, I can follow you down this path. I won't make fun of you at this point. Okay,
Well, thanks,
I can follow you down that road.
See how much of a bully he is? It's so mean.
No, I'm supporting you.
I know. Now
I just saved you from a lifetime of being made fun of by saying the PS2 was HD.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. But more importantly, I just want to go off the list of games that we still appreciate to this day. We had Halo Combat Evolved for the original Xbox.
Still one of the best shooters of all time.
Absolutely redefined first-person shooters on consoles, because let's just admit, if you talk about PC, first-person's.
Although I hate the first stage of Halo Combat Evolved in the ship. I can't stand it.
I can see
It's
that.
nothing but corridors.
We had Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda, probably talked about it as one of the best Legend of Zeldas of all time, and Twilight Princess late in the GameCube's life. Yeah, let's not forget that, which to this day has been voted the #1 dungeons and Legend of Zelda games.
Not the water temple, though. That one sucked.
That was not Ocarina of Time.
No,
It's your turn later, buddy.
no, I'm talking about Twilight Princess as well.
Okay, yeah, I can.
That one
okay.
sucked also.
Yeah, well, you know, each their own. And for PlayStation 2, I thought hard about this. What game was amazing on the PlayStation 2? Was it Metal Gear Solid 2? That was an incredible game. Was it all the Resident Evils that came out for it? Call of Duty? I don't know. What could be that thing? And then I thought of a game that came out in the PlayStation 2, one that changed gaming forever. And that was Final Fantasy X. Do you remember that game, Steve?
Very well.
First time Final Fantasy had voice acting. First time Final Fantasy had those amazing graphics. It was a huge game. It was overwhelming. There was 4 versions of that game released at the beginning of its cycle. Probably the best-selling Final Fantasy of all time, and it changed gaming. Every Final Fantasy kind of took note after that. We all remember where we were when Titus disappeared. On us.
It also had Blitzball.
Yes, and it had Blitzball. So just to me, it was an amazing time to be a gamer. I mean, I might have grown up with the original Nintendo, but PS2, GameCube, Xbox, that's where I found my footing. And Enter the Matrix for the original Xbox, I don't care what they say. You're amazing. Ghost. That's all, Steve.
All right.
You remember Enter the Matrix, though?
Yeah, I remember it. Yes, I did.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
I also remember the poorly received and short-lived Matrix Online MMORPG.
7 people played that.
Yes, about 7.
Yep.
Okay, so, I'm not sure you sold it well enough, buddy. I'm not sure.
Okay, but you've seen where I was going, though.
Oh, I see. I can follow you down that path, that winding trail.
You think some people
It's
will agree
just
with
very
you?
winding.
It was like a river.
A slow-moving stream.
Okay.
Okay, so, my prop I've now corded up for whatever reason. The era that consists of the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, and PC gaming of said era, I believe is the best, clearly most nostalgic for me, but just the best in general era. And there is a long, long list of why I feel that way, but we're going to stick to the most important, most prevalent ones. So, let's start with what's most important to gaming, the games. So, we have, to this day,
Son.
genre-defining experiences on all of these platforms. Every single Mario game made today is still compared to Super Mario World. Because Super Mario World, to many people, to a large majority of people, is still the best Mario game ever made.
I like when you press the run button, his little fat feet go, and you just moves.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Fast-paced platformers are still compared to not to the same extent as Mario, obviously, but Sonic the Hedgehog, the quintessential Sega mascot.
I hate to agree with you, but a game I just watched a review the other day that compared to Sonic Hedgehog, so you're not wrong.
Oh my God, the JRPG machine, the Super Nintendo, the RPG era was in its absolute prime during the days of the 16-bit console era.
Is that Chrono Trigger there?
Sure, there are a
Earthbound?
ton of great RPGs made today, especially Western RPGs, which didn't really exist I guess they did sort of, but not anywhere near what they do today. Mm-hmm. But the JRPG scene on those, specifically the Super Nintendo, was just obscene. Think about the quality of games that we got. The Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, which obviously were not the same in Japan, but same games, just different numbers.
6 will always be 4 to me. You know what I'm saying?
Secret of...
Nothing? All right.
Sure. Secret of Mana, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross, obviously, PlayStation.
We'll talk about that one day.
I'm talking fast here. I'm sorry. Chrono Trigger. The list goes on and on and on.
May I offer you an Olive Branch 2 Fantasy Star on the PlayStation or the Sega?
Okay, I can see that. Yes, true.
That was another great
that's a good
JRPG,
Sega example. Yes, and you want to talk about feelings? Mm-hmm. How about the feeling you got when you argued with your friends on the schoolyard about which was the best console? The Bit Wars, baby. The 16-bit Bit Wars. We have an interview video from a ways back with the directors of the Console Wars movie, which is linked in the iCard above. You guys should check out the interview.
They did it for free.
They made a several hour long movie about just the Bit Wars with interviews. They don't make movies about the GameCube versus the PlayStation 2. These things don't exist because it didn't have that cultural relevance that era of gaming had.
Sega do with Nintendo.
Exactly. Still to this day, the best marketing hook line of all time. And we cannot leave out what is most near and dear to me, the gaming scene on PC from that era.
Now, PC, that stands for People and Cheese, correct?
The PC gaming era of the early to mid 90s was so astoundingly awesome. And if you did not experience this, like if you're too young, for example, or you weren't into gaming at the time, it's hard to put into words the epicness of the point-and-click era of Sierra Online, the point-and-click era and the parser era of Sierra Online, the point-and-click and parser era of LucasArts.
Oh yeah, like Monkey Island.
Yes, there you go. Even extending to games, the copycat companies like Interplay, which eventually became EA, of the era. All of those games are so good. The storytelling is so rich in all of those because remember, think about games like Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo, or this is PC based, so it won't be as popular, but like King's Quest or Quest for Glory. It didn't have those insane HD lifelike visuals. It didn't have the crazy, super insanely fast-paced gameplay. You had story. You had puzzles. And you didn't have the internet. You shouldn't have flash games. You didn't have the internet back in the day to just be like, I'm stuck for 5 minutes. Let me just go see what you have to do here. No, you had to call the Sierra hint line when you were stuck in a Sierra point-and-click game and pay $1.99 for the first minute and 99 cents for each additional minute and go through 17 different directory trees to get to the answer you needed just to figure out how to get through a puzzle you've been stuck on for the past 3 days after you begged your parents to be able to call them.
You didn't know you had to combine the lighter with the roach? That's what happened.
But the games were so well done. They're just, I can't find even the right words to describe the feeling that you got playing those, because that was the first true generation where you didn't play a game, you were sucked into the game.
You're saying there was an emotional connection with it.
That was the first generation of gaming where the emotional connection ran rampant through your body. Like, when you played Contra, you were playing a shooting game. When you played the original Mario, you were playing a platformer that was fun. But when you played Mario World, when you played King's Quest V, Absence Makes the Heart Go Yonder. Or Go Yonder.
Oh, man, everybody knows that one.
That's a super popular game, by the way. If you haven't played it, I'm sorry. If you have, the first time you played games like that, you were in that game. You became a part of it. And I think the feeling that those games were able to deliver to you because of the advancements of technology and the way storytelling had evolved in gaming to that point will make it so that era is never to be topped. Not to mention the jump in technology around that time was extremely significant. Like if you play an Xbox One game and then go to an Xbox Series X game or a PS4 game into a PS5 game, oh, this looks better. This looks a little better. There's some more texture here. That's what you get. The frame rate's a little better. That's what you get. But when you go on the PC side, from the late 80s to the early 90s, you go from 16-bit EGA graphics with a parser, text-based interface, look at tree, to a 256-color Super VGA, point-and-click with your mouse, in some circumstances talkie, for talking versions. It's like this. It's never going to get any better than this. The jump was staggering. The jump from 8-bit to 16-bit was staggering. The quality in sound, staggering. Sure, there was other leaps, maybe from like the PS1 to the PS2 that are similar, but that is when it really hit home. And that is why, to this day, it is still talked about so fondly by people 45 and younger. You know, that's the reason, that is why it is, why it's so regurgitated so often by people on YouTube and things like that, why it's talked about so much, because it is the best. Period.
Anyway, I've overstayed my welcome on this conversation.
You usually
That's the
do,
answer.
Steve. You usually do.
So, let's vote.
All right. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Who's going to vote first? It's me. I started talking first. That's what's going to happen. Couple questions. Jesse, did you bring back the Mohawk for one night only? For one night only. Don't go crazy, ladies. All right? I don't know what the hair is going to do next week. We don't know. Second, Steve brought up a lot of good points in his long-winded answer when he went on and on about, you know, my precious PC and how it felt to touch mouses all at the same time, and, you know, me and my wife online and all this stuff. And
I didn't mention that.
I mean, whatever. I don't know. I stopped listening partly to it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't top sales, and it doesn't top a PS2, and it doesn't top a GameCube, or that original sweet Xbox, that box, boom, that thing looked like a briefcase with a little X on it, you know what I'm saying? So still believing and feeling that was the best time in gaming, okay? Not to mention, that was early online. That's when we started getting connected with people. I forgot all about that. You remember playing some SOCON online? Oh, they over there. Oh, I mean, it took a couple times. They're over there. What? They're over there. What? Turn it up. Yeah. But it was early online. We were getting there. Okay? And we also had the Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance. So that's my vote. Steve's looking at me really hard, isn't he?
So, my vote, it seems to be pretty obvious. You know, you had some good points or whatever, but I don't honestly believe your explanation. I don't even believe you believed your explanation. And to insult our viewership with the claim that sales are important to you, of all people, is, I'm going to bleep this out, laughable. We're talking about the guy who sings the praises to anyone at any chance he gets of the amazement of Batman v Superman.
Dawn of Justice. So
15 people saw that in the movie theaters. 15!
I've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, he's 3 of the 15, which means 12 other people saw it in the theaters. You want to talk about sales? That is hilarious to me, okay? And gaming in general, as a whole, was much smaller in my picks era, okay? You had millions of people with a computer, not hundreds of millions of people with a computer. You had an install base of the Super Nintendo, you know, maybe a few years in, of 25 million. Not 80 million that the PS2 had a couple of years in or whatever. You're comparing apples to oranges. Sales means jack. Who cares? It's all about, and I've said this on Show and Tell ad nauseum, I have said this, it's about the feeling you get and the experience of it. It could be the greatest game of all time. If the experience is garbage, the whole thing is ruined. You know?
But did your Super Nintendo play a DVD?
No, but arguably that is why the PS2 won that generation, by the way. Not necessarily because it was the best system. Although...
Was my first DVD player.
And I think it was everybody's first DVD player.
You know what my first movie I watched on it was?
What was that?
Next Friday.
That's an odd choice.
It was my first DVD.
So, my vote, obviously, the Super Nintendo, Genesis, and PC era of the early to mid 90s.
Although I don't agree with you, and I think your opinion is haunting. I still respect you, Steve.
I respect you too. Well, guys, that handheld has been a few seconds too long.
Yep.
This has been Show and Tell. I'm Steve. This guy...
Oh, still Jesse.
I see. I threw you there. You like that? A big shout out to all of our patrons who are appearing here, 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 and here.
Oh,
thank you.
You can be one of those too.
Because you guys truly make this show and all of our shows worthwhile. And make them do. You guys make them do. I have drank one too many monsters today.
Too much of the do.
Be sure to check out our sponsor for this video, Streamlight Media. You too can have awesome music like the one playing in the background right now in your streams and YouTube videos, all for free. Follow the link in the description.
And don't forget, we're never going to give you guys up.
Now you're just quoting random music. This has been Show and Tell, and we will see you in the next one.